You already know what it is. We had another episode of Varsity House Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crawford, and on this episode, we have, a local legend, someone I looked up to growing up in Cleveland, playing football, running track, Ginn Jr. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on today. And this kind of just stemmed from, I was doing an episode, a couple weeks ago back in Chicago, and I was talking to a guy, who happened to be one of, a legend, an Illinois football legend. And, we were just talking about how the interview came up. And it came up from a Twitter thread that people were talking about, who's the best high school football player you guys have ever seen? And so that kind of just struck an idea that I had. And we came up with this term, like doing a series called Local Legend. And so we knocked that out. It was great feedback. Everyone from his hometown got to get insight. And it's kind of funny because it's like you see these players, you grew up on these players. And, for a little kid, sometimes the person you look up to is not the NFL player, it's not the Hall of Famer. Sometimes it's not even a college player. It's a player that's, down the street from you or, in the same school district as you. And so that's where this episode stemmed from. And, for me, this is, a dope experience for me because I get to talk to someone that, being a kid in Cleveland, playing Muni League and all those things, it was like you were the person that we all looked up to. And so we did a Twitter thread. I had my homeboy tweet it out, and I think your name popped up probably the most. It was like you and like Braxton Miller was like the top two people. So again, in Latuan, so he popped up. But appreciate you coming on, and I'm excited to get this conversation going.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. Pretty dope to give back, especially to our black people. And let's rock.
Definitely. And so obviously, most recent news, your dad. And then also Glenville, won the state championship this year, first state championship, in the school history. And so it's surprising, obviously for the people who are from here just because of the amount of talent that came through Glenville that went into the NFL and things like that. But obviously you saw the emotions and you obviously got to be here for it, to experience it with them. What was that, that experience like? But because firsthand.
Well, just the sweat blood that he's put into the school, into the district, into the community. It was great for him to get one of the accolades that they said he couldn't get. It's more than a game to him. It's more than X's and O's. It's about saving a life. And in this type of situation, we was able to better that life. By walking out with what they call some hardware. And just to see the joy on his face, but just to see the joy in the community, actually on the state, like you said before, there's a lot of big names that come out of there, but we haven't done that. These group of kids did that, by being stamped and becoming the first team to ever, win a state title for the Cleveland Municipal School District. It was a blessing. Like I said, I wasn't there physically because, the train must go on. I was down in Bowling Green, Kentucky, with a group of seventh graders. And we was playing for a national title at that time, and it just happened to fall on the same day. We're not used to usually going this far. So things must go on. But I was able to see it from afar. I was able to enjoy it from afar. I didn't have to worry about nobody else's joy. I created my own joy about what I seen. I was able to see how he respond to what he has done. You know what I'm saying? Where I wasn't there, I seen it on the TV and seen all the emotions and seeing the way that it was all genuine. And it was the best deal that can ever come our way. Of course, I wanted to be there physically, but the way that I received it was, the best way ever. It was his moment, and it didn't need nobody to be there to damp it. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that I'm a damper, but you know what I'm saying? That was his shine, that was his glow, and I'm glad he was able to get it done.
And you talk about just the impact that he had, not only on Cleveland, but the whole state. And so obviously, the Greater Cleveland award ceremony just happened and he received the Lifetime Achievement Award. And so, now that you're on the path that you're on, you talk about being, in Kentucky with a group of seventh graders, and now, watching your dad or, you know, being a part of him winning the state championship and then also receiving that award now, you know, how much has that obviously just impacted you? Because, you know, on the path that you're on right now, it would say that you're, you know, on that same path.
Well, you know, I mean, he's the head of the family, you know what I'm saying? We only look up to one or two people, you know, either your big brother, your father, or that guy at church, or, you know, the guy in the streets, you know. That's kind of like the base of the situation, and this has been our family business my whole life, you know. I'll be a fool not to keep it going. You know, I will never let his name go in a vain after he put 40 or 50 years into this community. Why wouldn't I come back and make sure that, you know, all the eggs is in the right basket to keep that going? You know, not me, that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a part of that. You know what I'm saying? So as long as he's on this earth, you know, I'm going to continue to have his back and create different things to make sure that his ship keep selling, you know. And seeing him do this, you know, it just make us work harder underneath him. I mean, it's just not just me, you know. I got a lot of great brothers that's underneath me, you know, in different ranges of age that understands and get it, you know what I'm saying, or trying to make a difference. So it's a pack, you know, and it's a clan, and just to watch him do it, you know, and you know, there's nobody else that can really, you know, top that.
And now, you know, looking at it to the point where, you know, you want to keep the legacy going on. What are some things that, you know, obviously he's laid a great foundation, you know, gave you a great blueprint. What are some things like outside, you know, from the city, from the state that could also help things, you know, move it along? Because obviously we all know that we can't do it alone.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, well, right now, man, we just got to keep bringing awareness to our community, you know, and that was the first step, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of our kids leave up out of there because we don't win state championships. So now we got a step now. We do win state championships, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big deal, you know. Just being able to find some type of facility that these kids can go to and really get the maximum of their talent or their knowledge, you know, of the game that they're playing, no matter if it's football, basketball, track, cheerleading, gymnastics, whatever it is. There's nothing in our area that hubs our kids, you know what I'm saying? That's why they're so spread it out, and they get caught up in the neighborhoods or the wrecks or different things like that that make them have this beef that grows with them as they get older. You know what I'm saying? But you keep them in one hub and you keep them all around those same people. You know, as you get older, you have a better community. You know what I'm saying? So just finding that space where our kids can go from 3 to 8. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't the streets. You know what I'm saying? And parents are working and doing different things, so they get 2 or 3 hours where they just run crazy. I mean, I was a kid at one point in time. Right. You know, I understand what go on with free time. Now with kids' free time, they ain't doing the right things with it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to channel it. And the only way you channel it is find something they can go to and find a hub for them.
And now you even talk about, you know, like having that hub, but not only for, you know, the kids now, but also, you know, the people who have graduated from Glenville, and we'll get into it a little later, but you know, the current NFL players that are from Glenville, also the former ones, and so just having a place, you know, to come back home to, because you know, even for me, it's like everybody wants to go down, you know, after the season, everybody wants to go down to Florida, want to go to California, Vegas, or wherever to train, and you know, a lot of people, you know, come from this area who have the talent, and or also coming up who have the talent. And we talk about, you know, looking for that spot to train at. And you mentioned that hub. Kind of just talk about, you know, because you played with the Dolphins a little bit, you know, you even played with the Niners. So you've been in some great, you know, cities, some great environments with better weather and things like that. But you decided to come back, you know, after your career and still play here and, you know, train here and do all those things.
Because I just know what it means. I just know what it means. I mean, for me to work out at speed and strength, and I take this analogy, for me to work out at speed and strength, and then to see the Tony Fishers and Lunder Fletchers and J.R. Bremer and like guys like that's in the league. They come home, they work out here. I'm an upgrowing guy. I'm in the 9th, I'm in the 10th, I'm in the 11th, I'm in the 12th. I watched them for 4 years of my high school career. So I learned how to work out. I knew what some of the things was about. I knew about tests and different things that you just ain't gonna learn unless you can see somebody doing it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I seen how they had to work out extra and do different things just to stay above, because you got a guy like me coming up. You get what I'm saying? But that gave me a knowledge. They gave me some things like that nobody can teach you. Like, you get what I'm saying? I just watched it with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you could go to Cleveland Heights, have it. You know what I'm saying? Any place else has it. Like, you get what I'm saying? But not in our community where somebody want to come home and really take their 6-week program and really do it here. And really get all of the things they supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? Because you take care of them, then you take care of them. That's how easy it go. Now, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Bring them back so they can keep being the example. And then now as they keep being the example, now you get a little kid that might be going left, but he see this dude for 6 weeks. And he like, oh, I'm gonna get back on track because now I want to go get me a Bentley. I want to go get me a range. I want to get my mama a house. You know what I'm saying? I want to have equity and wealth for the rest of my life. Like, you get what I'm saying? So nobody sees that. They only see whatever they see on TV, or whenever they get in trouble, you blast them on TV, and that's all they see. But they don't see, like, okay, how did he get out of it? What type of person is he? Like, nobody see that.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the biggest thing, to where it's like, you talk about, I call this little series Local Legend, and, you know, you talk about it because sometimes there's people who don't, you know, necessarily make it or don't necessarily have that NFL career. But at home, it's like they the guy, they the legend. You know, Mikey was here earlier, and you could use him as an example. You know, down, you know, in Cleveland, Mikey is that guy just because of, you know, what he went through and his career and whatever. But he didn't make it to the league, but he is someone in the community that comes back around, you know, and is involved with the kids. And so being that figure that's like not so much just, you know, not only seen on the TV, because just like even now you see Frank Clark doing this thing. But it's also like, I remember I met Frank, first time I met Frank was on a visit to Michigan. And one thing that almost got me to go to Michigan was just like the relationship we had just talking about Cleveland football and just like growing up in Cleveland and just having that connection and things like that, to where it's like that little bit just felt like we had a connection from there. And it's like you could go back to the city, you could go back to, you know, where you're from and continue to have that same connection with those guys, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like how your dad is. It's like people kept going through Glenville because of, you know, the legacy, because they saw you. I remember, like, I went to my parents low key wasn't gonna let me go to Glenville, but it was like the only thing that I wanted to do and growing up. It was the only school that I wanted to go to. It was the only games I wanted to go to growing up. And just because it was like you went there, and then it was like Ray Smalls went there. So I was like, all these dudes that I'm just watching on TV or just watching in person, I'm like, I don't even think about college. I don't even think about the NFL. It's like, I want to go to Glenville because these dudes, you know, they've done it already. And so obviously, you know, you had an amazing career at Glenville. You move on, you go to Ohio State. You know, in research, I saw this, but you were All-American DB.
Yes.
You were the #1 cornerback in the class.
Yes.
And so I mean, obviously it was the right decision for you to switch to receiver, but just even, you know, coming out as a DB, you played corner, quarterback, and receiver in high school, but talk about just playing DB and, you know, where that just skill set came from.
Well, you know, I mean, I was always a Charles Wilson, Deion Sanders, Desmond Howard, like all them type of guys was like always like my favorite guys. As I got to, you know, being a receiver, I fell into the Steve Smith, the Ochos, you know, that type of personnel. Always loved Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, it was always, you know, one of the guys that I like. You know, everybody's kind of like in my skill set. But, you know, just coming up, man, you know, we are a defensive school. And that's what we put out, you know. And corner was like the first love, and it was the first thing I get on the field in high school. You know what I'm saying? I made my name a sophomore trying to be a starting corner. End up becoming a starting corner. And like that just took off because it was like the only thing I could do. I just watched my father and them go to one of the first playoff game ever against Shaker, win that, play Lakewood. You know, I'm sitting on the bench as a freshman, so I wanted to get in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So I got in the mix by playing corner. That took me to who I was at that time. You know what I'm saying? But when I got to school, you had the Dustin Fox, you had Bodie, you had Dante Whitner, Ashton, Nate Sally, you had Tyler Everett. Like, you had some real good corners that Dustin Fox. Like, you just had real good corners that, you know, knew the game, knew how to play. They done played, you know, shit. At this point, they done played 22 games together. You know what I'm saying? So, just putting me in there because of who I wasn't a great idea.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? A guy came out in the hoot and holler, and Matt Johnson, third string running back, fourth string might have been at the time, just flatlined me on the Oklahoma drill. Just flatlined me. So me being a little small, scrawny guy trying to play corner, I could cover pretty good, but coming up and hitting wasn't really my forte.
Especially in the Big Ten.
Especially in the Big Ten. Especially watching, you know, Tress and them already had Gamble the year before, or a couple years before, so he played both sides. So I was coming in to basically be the Gamble again. That's why I wore 7. And at that time, you know, numbers mean everything at Ohio State.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I got that because that was like the both sides of the ball type number.
I didn't even know that. I didn't peep that.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have a 2 and a 2. But he just play defense, he just play offense. You know what I'm saying? You might have a 5 and a 5. He play offense, he play defense. You had Santonio Holmes and Kurt Coleman. They both were 4. Right. But they never play offense. Like, you get what I'm saying? But you'll have that dual number sometimes where 7 was that both sides type player. You know what I'm saying? Just got down there, me being a blue chip, #1 player in the nation in certain books, you know, between me and Adrian Peterson at the time. I couldn't sit. I just couldn't redshirt. You know what I'm saying? Especially after, you know, having one of my players before me go down there that they should have played right off the back, but they let him redshirt and it worked out good for him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like in that same boat type of guy, you know what I'm saying? So me just sitting around not doing nothing is trouble for me. Right. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, they moved me to offense. They watched me for 4 years, play quarterback, receiver, you know, punt returns, kickoff. So they knew me having the ball in my hand, you know, I could do what I could do. So they moved me actually like 2 weeks before the opening season, like before the opening game. I played defense the whole time. They seen they weren't going to do that, so they gave me like 10 plays. That's all I had. My first 2 weeks of the 04 season, I had 20 plays. That's all I knew. I got 10 the first week. They put them right in. I mean, they ran them to death. But they was just 10 plays. And then they came back. I had them 10 plays from last week. They gave me 10 more plays this week. So now that's how I always kind of learned. You know what I'm saying? Because I never had the playbook in front of me to be like, okay, this is who I am. This is like, I learned that as I kind of went to the pros where they give you a playbook and you got to go home and figure that shit out. Like, you get what I'm saying? There, college is made to help you. You just got to help yourself. Okay, this is what I got to look at it, read it, like whatever it may be. But they there to help you because they know you don't know. You come from a high school that you're at home with your mom all the time. School, they ain't giving you no homework at football. You barely get homework from the teachers. Now, you get what I'm saying? So you don't really know how to go through no real playbook. So that's where they teach you. When you get a playbook this thick, man, you got the summary, the rules, you got it all. You got it all in one little. That scared a kid from the community that never seen a book sometimes in school, or the teacher might not have had a pen. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just where it come from. So that skill set of me learning the playbook helped me with going to school. You get what I'm saying? But people don't see how that relates. So as well as I got to that, then I could pick up a book. and understand how to break a book down because I done broke this book down. Like, everything relates.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point to where it's like, you know, you talk about the two relating. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand. Like you mentioned that redshirt year too. Like when you take a sport or you take something that a kid is passionate about away from them, you know, it kind of messes up, you know, the other stuff that, you know, if I didn't have this game, you know, I probably wouldn't be focusing as much in school. But it's like, now that I got this game and I know this is like a way to, you know, get me out of my situation, get my family out of my situation, I gotta do school. And so, you know, you talk about, you know, the relationship between the two and, you know, understanding the game of football and then how, you know, the game of football relates to the game of life, relates to school, education, and things like that. Kind of just, you know, touch on that point right there, because I love the way you worded it to where it was just like, you know, that's how you learn school. That's how you learn, like, education is how you broke it down in football is the same way how you broke it down in school. And I think that's a key point to where it's just like, I don't think a lot of people understand, like, not only is it a way out because of the financial reasons, but it's also so much education that goes on, whether it be discipline, whether it be, you know, organization, you know, studying habits, all those things, all that is, you know, instilled in you just because you're doing something that you love. And because you love it, you don't even know that you're doing it. And so just kind of touch on that point to where it's just like how impactful that is to a student. Well,
you know, at the end of the day is which moves you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this game just brought so much joy to my family, you know, before I had the joy. You know, I mean, we've been high school legends, you know, as far as what my old man has done as far as since '74. You know, my whole family went to the Ville. But let's make a long story short about how that transfer over. Like, this game set standards and dates for people's lives. You know, if I didn't learn this game at 6 or 7 years old, you know, I don't think I'll be where I'm at today. Because me learning this game made me pay attention to other things that my parents put in front of me that I probably would have never paid attention to because I didn't have no drive to go do something. You know what I'm saying? So with me being, you know, having the learning disabilities that I had coming up, you know, I had an IEP in school. You know, I'm not ashamed about that because it made me better. You know what I'm saying? It made me slow things down for me to be able to grasp it so I could get to who I am today. You get what I'm saying? So I love that, you know, my parents was able to place me in spots to make me be right. You know what I'm saying? So with that, the game of football and, you know, me wanting to be who I wanted to be, you know, it all came into a form. So I just took all of it together and made it work in every standpoint of my life. You get what I'm saying? So I made football be easy, so I try to make school be easy for me. So I try to relate them, and you almost doing the same thing. So you almost got to go and do an hour of studying for football. I got to go do an hour of studying for school. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I got 2 hours that I know I got to do 2 type of studying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to wear me out. But that's what I signed up for. Now, you get what I'm saying? But you don't really get that until you go to college. You know what I'm saying? And then once that college break, now you either go pro or you go business. But guess what? You still going business once you go pro. Because now I got into a whole new world with a whole new line of people, a whole new pay grade, a whole new lifestyle of living, a whole new playbook. You know what I'm saying? I got to move right now, be in a whole new city. I got to learn that city. Like, so you got to put all that into a play. So you grow up so fast in this game that if you don't think that it don't happen overnight, you're a fool. And that just happened overnight. So I just had my tools. And my tools was break everything down. I've been getting up from 6 o'clock in the morning to work out since I was 14. So why not get up at 6 o'clock, go to your school, 2 hours of school, 3 hours of school. By 1 o'clock, you're going to be playing some football somewhere in college.
Right. But like now, I mean, you talking from the side, you know, that did make it and that was successful. And now, you know, unfortunately, but it is reality, there's another side, you know, that don't go down the right path, that go the wrong direction. you know, that has the same opportunity. It's just something didn't click, something, you know, something didn't go right, you know, whatever it may be, you know, family, household, one bad decision, anything like that. Kind of just, you know, talk about what you've seen, you know, maybe classmates, maybe, you know, friends that growing up who might have made that wrong decision, maybe, you know, might have skipped school on the wrong day, you know, did the wrong thing, skipped practice, to where it was just like, how your story, what you can relate to, how can that help someone else that might be in a situation to where it's like they got a buddy who ain't, you know, doing the right thing, but they see the talent, they see the opportunity, and it's like you come from the same area and we got the same opportunity. It's just, you know, mindset might be a little different. You know, they might see the light at the end of the tunnel where the other friend don't. It's like it might be like right now for him. So kind of just talk about, you know, maybe some situations that you've been in to where it's just like you was with someone and y'all went to complete opposite direction, but he had the opportunity to go your same direction.
I mean, I think the opportunity come in and you separate yourself is 7th, 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's where you can start seeing, okay, this dude ain't coming back. You know, like Muni ball. By the time we get 13, 14, you ain't got the same team no more. Because people all into all different type of stuff that's going on out here in the world. But I mean, I could name 100 cats, but you know, I just think that when the bridge break, you just pick what you pick. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have my bridge go like that before, but somewhere down the line, I got back on my path. Like I tell people all the time, every kid that came out of Glenville that went to a university was made to come back home. We never had the tools to be there. But when we got there and we got that first slap on the wrist, some of us, we was like, oh, I see how that felt. I don't want to go back and get one of them. And then another one was like, well, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try that again until your slaps get you out. You get what I'm saying? Right. So I think that's more of the journey is, you know, once you see your thing break, what do I do to get back on track? And 9 times out of 10, what you see people do is once they break, they stay where they at. So they get with the friends that ain't doing what you doing. They get with the people who ain't doing what you doing. You get what I'm saying? So then you already know, okay, it's still my dude. Still love you, but you over there now. That's what you chose. So I'll catch up with you when I want to get on that time. You get what I'm saying? But until then, I'm going to go over here and stay on this and hope that I stay over here and one day you wake up and come get back on my track. But you never get off your track to go get on somebody else's. You get what I'm saying? Unless they're doing better than your track. You get what I'm saying? But if they ain't doing better than your track, you stay in your lane, and eventually he'll veer back over and get on with you. Or you gonna stay over there, and there ain't nothing wrong with it. You just, hey, how you doing? He gonna get you with the, hey, how you doing? Then once he wake up, it's gonna be a couple years later. He gonna be like, damn, you was showing me everything. You was doing everything. I should have just been with you. And that's just how it goes. There ain't really nothing I can really be like, hey, man, because ain't nobody living no perfect life. I can't tell him not to do it, and then I'm going to turn around and do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be real with yourself. So the best thing that I always have done was just move like I was supposed to move when I was supposed to move. I always hung out. I was a class clown. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as that teacher came in and said, hey, man, don't do that no more, I ain't doing no more. I might have moved to another area, but I ain't gonna mess with that no more. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Right. I mean, that's what life is about. You know what I'm saying? So it's just what it is. Like, so I just think once my best friend said all the time, like, we walked in one day at Speed and Strength, and it was me, Brian, Rasul. We was right here. We used to work out every day together. And one day, my dude was like, well, you working out over here. And my best friend, Brian, said all the time, he said, once you went over there, we seen a whole different type of guy. And then they knew, if they ain't trying to put in that type of work, we ain't even gonna mess with him. You get what I'm saying? So it was times that my friends would call and be like, you coming out? I'm like, no, man, I got a track meet in the morning. Or Pop said, I can't go to that party. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes me not going to the party help them not go to the party. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just different things. I remember times that my mama tell me, no, don't go up the street. I don't like you like that. I go up the street anyway. Then next thing you know, I'm running back home. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't know, they gonna really stand and fight. I don't know what's going on. I don't really be up here like this. You get what I'm saying? So you got to know when certain people talk and with the knowledge that certain people have, and they ain't always trying to like take your fun away from them. And that's something I learned early in life that helped me once I got to college, once I got to the pros. Yeah, I hung out. Yeah, I did some things. But if you really look at my college career, I didn't really hang out like that.
Yeah, you it's a great point you talk about, towards like you talk about that circle. And you know, I forget who said this, but it was like, you know, show me your future, or show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It might have, I mean, a bunch of people have said it now, but that's something that stick with me, because back in high school, it was like, and I'm still best friends with them to this day. It's like we would train together, we would, you know, do everything together pretty much in school. You know, we go to the same trainer, we doing everything. And, you know, so happened that we all ended up going Division I and playing football. So, you know, having that circle is, you know, obviously very important, you know, having that foundation. Because obviously as kids, we all look at our parents like you mentioned, like they just trying to take the fun away. But in reality, it's like, as you know, as we get older, you know, as you know, now you're older, now you have a child and things like that. You obviously see it a lot different than me, because, you know, I'm not a father yet, but now being in those footsteps, you probably speak from that, you know, perspective, and seeing that, you know, as parents just want the best for you at the end of the day. Yeah. And your circle, though, is the ones that you kind of just develop with, because those are people that's going to be with you, you know, while you out, while you exploring, while the world is teaching you things and things like that. And so definitely love that point right there. But you talked about, you know, track a little bit, you know, having a track meet and those things. And you were, you know, a national champion in track, you know, had the fastest time in the nation and all those things. You ever think about a different path if you did choose the Olympics and everything like that?
Well, you know, I had a shot going to the Olympics straight out of high school. I missed it by a second, you know. But, I mean, I was going to explore every avenue that came my way. That's what I worked to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my, excuse me. But
how you like that, by the way?
It's cool. It's all right. Hydration. But
that's what. Yeah, it got. Which yours is turmeric. Turmeric.
Yeah, orange and ginger. My best friend, I love that.
We have to get her some then.
It is a guy, B.O.
We gotta get him some then.
Yeah, probably love that. But
wet hydration, you can definitely find it. Is
man.
He stamped it.
It's good. I mean, I just grew up where we ain't had this. Like, we had dog. Like, you just go out there and run till you tired. Like, all this enhancing and like, I it's cool, but I really ain't a fan of none of that, because I got it out the mud. Like, especially like a track, like Pop just ran us to death. You can't do that to these kids now.
Yeah. Now, I heard about the Glenville track practices.
Yeah.
Just from, you know, Shane. Obviously, Shane used to tell me and all those things.
Shane didn't even have it that bad. At that, I'm just being real. Like, the stuff that we did, it felt like he was like exploring with us. Like, oh, let me see if they can just run 10 miles. And if they do it, they do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, oh, if they ran 10, the next time we see they can run 20. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then we was just dumb enough to go do it every time. Like, and I ain't gonna say dumb, but that's the path we was following. That's the train track we was on. So once you see one doing it, the other one was like, all right, well, if he can do it, I ran track with guys that weren't even track runners, man. They all football players. They just had heart. I was the only real track star. And I wasn't really the track star. I made myself the track star. You know what I'm saying? But I was with real football players. Everybody I ran with was 205, 215, running 48s and 49s and 47s. It's incredible.
Right. No, that's definitely one thing that always, like, I always used to love to go to Glenville football games, but it wasn't nothing like seeing Glenville at a track meet.
Track is just different, man. It's just a different type of swag. It brings a different type of swag to you. Like, it's an individual sport. Like, I don't need you, bro. I really don't need you. I get 40 by myself and almost win the state championship.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Like, you get what I'm saying? But against a team, like Heights back in the day, you got a long jumper, you got a pole vaulter, you got a high jumper, you got two guys in the hurdles, you got this guy over here doing, like, you know what I'm saying? You had guys, like, you know what I'm saying? So I just liked how my football guys came to track with a different mindset. Like, okay, this really putting us on a map. Because track was taking us, we were just playing down there at PH. I'm just being 100. We were just playing at PH and Rhodes, Marshall. Track? We was going to California, Penn Relays, Texas. Like, we're going to see all top guys. So then now, once you go to Texas, who you beat the fastest guy in Texas, you get a scholarship from Texas, Texas Tech, West Texas, East Texas, El Paso, Texas.
Right.
Like, that's how I go. But people don't see it like that. So that was the game that we knew. But we go hard in track. And we go around the world. You go Florida, New Jersey, California, Texas, them big time track. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you come out in between 1 and 3 and them, then you gonna get Miami to look at you. You're gonna have Ohio State look at you. You're gonna have LSU come look at you. Cause they like, oh, he play football too? You get what I'm saying? So I love basketball, but it's so hard to do.
Right. Very few.
Football and track, they go hand in hand, and they take you around the world, and that's what we knew. So we go down here and run at Arcadia. That means you could go and see Cal. You get what I'm saying? You go see USC. Like, you ain't got to be on no visit or nothing like that. You just walk right in.
We went to, we got to run at Penn Relays too when I was in high school. We ran a 4x1 and a 4x4. 4x4, the track was, it seemed like the track was long. Yeah. And so when we ran there, it was crazy because we got to see Allison Felix. We got to see, Usain Bolt ain't run that year, but we got to see Jamaican team.
You got to realize I beat Usain Bolt at the Penn Relays.
I didn't know
4x1.
We'll have to pull that up.
Yeah, everything is in black and white, baby. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing that I'm trying to say. Like, the people that I was with from all sports are the guys now. So LeBron James, we played against him when I was 8. I played him from 8 to 14, 15, high school. Look at, he's the top guy. I was right there with Usain and them. Top guy. When I went to the league. With the top guys. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it was just like, our path at that time was kind of like how it's coming back now. And it's great that I could be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I kind of started it. You get what I'm saying? Because there's some guys before me that was greater than me that my father had his hands on. You get what I'm saying? But we just didn't have the recognition. So we was part of the recognition. Like, now the kids right here that's coming back right now, they should get it all.
Right.
They should have it all. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you said, it's our kids. I got twins that's 12 in the 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? 2 years, they going to high school. You know what I'm saying? So now my daughter run track. My little daughter run track. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I got to set that platform back up. So you got to start it off with somebody else's kids. I'm just being real. You get what I'm saying? So now you got the state championship team that coming in. So we got to go get another one. We got to keep it going. because it's for the best of
Right.
the family, the family business that we talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying? Now your own coming. So you got to have a platform for your own. You know what I'm saying? My father set one for us. Now it's time for me to set one for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I scream at we need somewhere to go. Cause I ain't just talking about somebody else's kid, I'm talking about my own too. My daughter don't know nothing. She was born in California. She come home to Ohio, she don't know nothing. She want to go wherever. She don't know what's dangerous, what's not dangerous. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to teach that. You get what I'm saying? But she's like, I want to go to Glenville. How can I tell her no? So now I have to go there and try to help revamp it for mine. But that's what we've been trying to do the whole time we've been in the deal. You know what I'm saying? But we just need people to come in and say, okay, man, let's take care of Glenville like we just took care of Kennedy. Like we just did Rhodes. And then we in there. But you can't sit over there and we got the most high history and then we can't even get into school.
You talk about the history a little bit, because obviously, you know, you got people from the Glenville area that might not have went to Glenville, like Rich Paul, but also guys like Steve Harvey who did go to Glenville. And then, you know, I mean, there's actors, there's lawyers, mayors, senators who come out of Glenville. Kind of just, you know, talk about that history. Not only, obviously, we've been talking about the athletic side of it, but obviously the athletics, you know, speaks for itself, but just the rich history that in general, you know, whether they go off and do whatever they do, like the ones, like the fields that I mentioned.
Like one of the best gold mines in this city. And the ones that learn how to get off and brush themselves off, you see them, they shine. Superman came from us. He get remake every 3 years. Somebody coming out with a new Superman movie, We tune in at it like we ain't never seen it. Like we don't know the ending. Like we don't know he like Lois. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's being real. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a great area. But it just ain't got the support that it had. When you put the support and you get a kid something around there, we'll be back. And we doing it, but we're just doing it through a school. We need to do it through the community. You get what I'm saying? But nobody really believes in that right now. So we seeing it from a far vision. But there's nowhere for them people to bring their money to in our community without it being ran down in 2 years, 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nowhere for them to really house their heritage. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
We're taught to move away and give back instead of moving in and giving back. So people can see us. So that's why I just try to be seen a lot. But if I get a platform, which from our heritage, then they can come in and whenever they want to. You'll see more singers, more actors, more doctors, more lawyers. They ain't got nowhere to go. They don't want to go home. They ain't got no lights. They ain't got no heat in certain spots. Them the guys that be lawyers and actors and doctors. So by the time they get caught up, they opportunity is gone already.
Right.
So then when they be a great mechanic, walking around, you call him about anything. He come fix everything. You get what I'm saying? But when his opportunity is there, he ain't have no hub to go to. And I'm gonna keep saying that because my father made a hub. And at that time, everybody was brought in. Like, you get what I'm saying? Now, you got the hub, and then every 5 minutes, oh man, you can't do that over here, man. You can't do that, go permit, go do that, go like, come on, man. Why you making that so hard for us?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why is it so hard? And then you see the outcome. And then now you back with us. Hey, thank you, man. Without you, we wouldn't be this. Help us, though. And I'm going to keep screaming that because at the end of the day, that's my fight for him. I know what he really want, I know it. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to create it every time. Every camera I get in front of, I'm going to ask for help. help our community. We need a facility. Now you're going to get way more people. How you think Fat Al became Fat Al? Pops sing for that teacher so you could get a C. People don't know that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a lot of different people out here that got the story but missed the opportunity. It's so crazy that we're talking. I was like, man, if I just knew what I knew now, I'd have saved my friends. What you just said earlier. He said, I'd have been the one like, hey, dude, get up, go do this. Go do that, because I understand what you can be. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He would have kept some of his, I promise you God, we just talked about this the other day. He said, man, I kept some of my bull away from them if I'd have knew what I know now. So that's why this generation gonna be great, because all the people that know what they know now want to give back, want to be into that. And if it's still the same training, it ain't hard. Just get on. It's already set. You got kids getting scholarships they would have never got them nowhere else, just by being on the same screen as with some of these good players, just like you said. Mm-hmm. And you went down to Michigan, seen Frank. Now, just imagine if y'all that came back and said, man, senior year, man, I'm going to come play with you. And everything went good. Didn't nobody care. And then y'all went on to Michigan together. Then y'all went on to the league together. That's how it went. Go find the pieces. Or like my father did. He went, oh, he good. He complimented us. Boom, boom. Hey, Tresh, take this whole group. It ain't just from Glenville. It's from everybody around here. So you got the Roy Halls, you got the Tony Gonzalez, you got the Brian Robis, you got the Brian Hartlines, Ted Ginn. Like, we ain't need, all the people ain't from Glenville. Right. But if you find a hub, the people will come and bring it back because they know what it is. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's just real.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you about that pipeline because at one point it was like a couple a year. And, you know, obviously, because we know the talent that Glenville have, it wasn't like a favor either. Oh. It was, y'all was doing Ohio State a favor at the end of the day. So kind of just, and then also Tressel was at the award ceremony where your dad received the award. So obviously that relationship is still tight. Kind of just, you know, talk about, you know, that pipeline, but also just how, you know, influential Tressel was to not only you, but to other Glenville kids, or just Cleveland kids.
Me kind of knowing Tresh through as a kid, you know, when he was coming up, you know, I met everybody coming up. Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Tresh, all them guys was at Bowling Green and Ken and Youngstown. Like, they was just coming up in the game, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was just, what my kids is today, I was them. 8 years old, 7, 6, you know. But one thing about Tresh was he bought into his kids and the programs they came from. So he made his program almost like where you came from. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then once he started getting a lot of us, he made his program Glenville. You see it work. So it's just like, every Wednesdays and Thursdays, Tresh called my father. Hey, Ginn, how we gonna go this week? How we gonna do this? Because he ain't looking at the X's and O's. He looking at the behaviors. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was a different type of coaching that my father was giving to Tresh. To be able to say, okay, I could deal with this dude, I could deal with this dude, I could deal with this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all he came from was great talent, but I can't get this one to do this one. This one okay, but he could be better. Like, you get what I'm saying? Right. And when you go to school, that's all it is talent. Mm-hmm. You got good talent, you got bad talent. You got coachable talent, you got non-coachable talent. Just what it is. But you gotta make sure everybody feel like they good. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Right. So with us getting there and seeing that we did have the pipeline that we had, but everybody didn't really play. But the thing was to get there, do 4 years, and figure out what you're gonna do in life. It wasn't going to the NFL. It was getting away from this for 4 years, get a degree from The Ohio State University so you have a stamp on your back, and then you come out here and get in the world. We just took it to another height by going to the NFL, by showcasing our talent a little better than other schools. You get what I'm saying? That made our baby say, okay, I want to come next. I want to go next. I want to go next. I want to go next. You get what I'm saying? So I just think and to go back to what I said earlier, I left from home and went to home. So it was easier. I didn't leave from one spot and I got down here and they changed the whole deal on me. It was like, okay, I walked out of this front door and I walked right back into my front door. So all the same things that was going on here was going on here, which just was in a bigger spot. You get what I'm saying? So I think that what made us be able to transfer or, you know, jump from high school to down here because it was the same method. So then now once I come back, now I set a different standard for Smalley and them. Like, y'all really want to come here? But this is what you gotta do. This is what you better do. You get what I'm saying? You gotta go do this. Like, if you don't do that, then you ain't gonna be able to get down here. So that's how that door opened up. Like, I was taught to open the door for the next door, for the next person. You get what I'm saying? So once I got that door open, then I go down, hey, Smalley, because I know who you are for real. Like, you know who I am.
Right.
So tell you making it, I made him believe he can make it. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how I go. So he like, damn, Teddy, man, we didn't slept on the floor with each other for 3 years. Damn, Teddy made it. I can get him down there. Now I show him, like, man, you need to get in this major. You need to, I show you how to start working your deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you got somebody in front of you that understand that it ain't easy for me. And I know who you is, so I'm gonna give you your whole shebang. And that was the same way I did for the league. Walked in, I got Marshawn and Justin. I saw them when they was 8. Now I'm 36. They 23. Playing on the same team with each other. And one day I just tell Marshawn, like, you think you can check me, nigga? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now I got to really go out here and really buckle up.
Yeah.
Cause I ain't thinking about nothing but we from the same area. He's not about to come home and tell nobody he locked me down. And that's what he's thinking. I'm about to go out here and lock Ted down so he can't go back and tell nobody that he take me up top whenever he want to. So now them competitions come real.
Right.
Now we learn how to avoid them after a while, but at first we was, every time we got a chance, it was just like, all right, bro, you good. I ain't fucking with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the first time I seen her, I knew who he was. Oh, this dude can really sit here. He didn't budge on me. Like, I did a speed release. He still went through his same steps. I said, he's fine. I told the coach, I said, he's fine. Then I watched him as the weeks go on, as the year go on. Now you see him no one corner.
Right. What does it mean for you to, to be that OG? Because now, like, for me, it's like I'm in that younger group to where it's like I looked up to people, and now, but for you to be in a position you are in, and to guide the Ray Smalls to Ohio State, and you talk about Marshawn and Justin to the league, and all being on the Saints. Talk about what it means to you, like deep down, to see them succeed.
Oh man, that made me play 3 more years. I was 30. Going on my 15. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me another 3 or 4 years. I tell them that all the time. And I told them everything was gonna happen. You gonna be a Pro Bowler, you gonna be a Pro Bowler. It's gonna take you a little bit more time though. But you gonna get there. Now I just sat back and I just enjoyed it. Sat back, put my hands like this, and let's go to work. And it was like deep down inside, like, man, it's just a blessing that they making it. Because they weren't supposed to make it. None of them. Justin didn't even play that much at DeVille. Went to Illinois, didn't even play. He's a Pro Bowler, making millions of dollars in a game that he just kept his heart and his passion in it. I just saw Marshawn the other day. Marshawn used to tell me he was going to do, I'm only going to do 6 years, bro. 6, 7 years, man, I'm out of here. Nah, he like, man, I'm going to do this dime. I'm in it to, I can't go no more. You know what I'm saying? And they see it, they understand it. It's them, that is who we are. We are diamonds in the roughs that shine in the light, man. And as long as you keep giving us that light, man, we're gonna keep shining.
Now we definitely gotta dive into your football career a little bit before we get out of here, because obviously, I mean, you just done some amazing things, and we could start at, obviously, we could go to Ohio State. You know, you talk about making that position change, but then also you become an All-American punt returner every year that you, or just returner every year that you were in college. Dynamic. This is a true story. I've never liked Ohio State, never rocked with Ohio State just because I grew up, my dad's a Michigan fan, so I grew up a Michigan fan, but it was only one Ohio State jersey that I had in my closet, and it was a red jersey, number 7. That was the only jersey I ever had from Ohio State. And now it's just, and then now it's like right at the point where y'all was like, y'all went to the national championship, you played in the national championship. Just talk about that year, but then also you being able to play with Troy, because, you know, that's a person I ain't even named earlier. It's like Troy Smith from Glenville. And then, you know, having the opportunity to play with him at Ohio State, and then also him winning the Heisman. And, you know, you being a part of that team, going to the national championship and being a key part. What was that season like? And then just, you know, but then also just having that relationship, you know, with Troy.
Well, you know, me and Troy relationship go back to Morning Star Baptist Church. I've been knowing my sister and Troy's sister went to school together. Ran track for my father. Troy's sister and my sister ran track for my father. That was his first track team, was my sister, Troy's sisters. So we was really, our families was in church together. So me and Troy used to hold the door for each other to go like to McDonald's on 105, right across the street from the first street at the East Side Market, right there. Like where you see that ATM machine is, used to be like a brick building. We used to have like stores underneath it, and you just stay upstairs. Like it was old school at that time, you know what I'm saying? But we just like do latchkey. Like we was always with each other, you know what I'm saying? And then he played for the A's, I played for Sims. So we always was friends. We always was shit, brothers. Like, you know what I'm saying? So once he came back from Ed's, you know, that rekindled, you know, and he got the shot to go to Old State. That kind of opened the door for all of us. You know what I'm saying? But the relationship was already there. You know what I'm saying? So getting down there, it just made that be even better by us knowing each other, knowing Dante, you know, Curtis Terry, you know, like that was like my hub for a couple years. So with us, you know, knowing each other, been around each other, Tay, I've been knowing Tay since we was kids. He played for Power 7, I played for Sims. Tay family, well, Bobo, Durrell, is my god brother. That's his first cousin. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's been a family like our whole life. So us going somewhere was needed for each other in a certain case. But we already knew who we were. Like, I know you a dog, like you know I'm a dog. You give us an opportunity, we gonna show you. Tay is the same way. So we just needed opportunities, which Tresh gave to us. I would never forget, freshman year, They started me in the third game. Back in the day, you know, you could run and get hit without getting the ball. Dude took my helmet off. I come to the sideline, tell Tress, I said, Tress, I ain't going back in. Probably my first time I ever quit, for real. Like, I ain't going back in till you teach me the plays, for real. Like, only had 20 plays. We was getting whooped by Iowa week 6. We was getting our butt whooped. Halftime come in, Tress come in, he say, Ted, Troy, Gonzo, Pittman, Roy Hall, Santonio. That's what I'm playing with for the rest of the day. We go out there and put the first score up. But we getting beat 33-6 now. You get what I'm saying? And after that, it just, like, we all knew. Like, we was all in the same, like, area. Like, I watched Gonzo take his team 8-8, go win the state championship. Then come back and do it in basketball. Like, so I knew talent. We knew that talent. If you put this talent on here with Santonio, we gone. And we took off. And once we seen that, Tress got better in understanding what he had. You get what I'm saying? And once he understood who he had and who he was, and that's the smartest thing I ever seen him on, like, know about him. Like, he knew what he had coming in, he knew what was going out, and what was gonna be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he worked it to where, like, we was all brothers. It was all one culture. We all needed each other from this area. You get what I'm saying? We all played for each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we was just trying to keep that door open because we knew we had some guys underneath us that can go. So I think just the community, getting raised by the community, getting raised by our village that we had, we all had the same mindset that made that experience just be even better and greater. You know what I'm saying?
What were some memorable moments from that national championship year? You know, obviously for you, you know, first team All Big Ten, things like that, All-American again. And then also you had the play for you that I remember the most is that, obviously, that kickoff return for a touchdown, you know, at the start of the national championship. But what were some other, like, memorable moments for you that season?
You got the dog fight in Northwestern that we should have never been in, that we pulled out. Well, of course, Michigan. I hated Michigan, still do. And at first, I was never like a real, like, I was good, but I was never like a sports guy. Like, I paid attention to, like, I followed players like my whole life, like, not really teams. Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, Indians. I still call them their same names, all them new names. You know, Gardens, and they the Cavs, man. You know what I'm saying? But Michigan, Northwestern, Penn State. I had to get Penn State just because we was 1-1 with them. Yeah, I beat them my freshman year. They beat me my sophomore year. I had to get them because I knew I was leaving. Right. Notre Dame game.
Yeah, talk about. I seen that highlight not too long ago. Just because I was watching it, because I did an interview earlier this year with Kirk Herbstreit, and so Notre Dame played Ohio State first game this past season. So I was watching that highlight, and I'm like, and since I went to Notre Dame, I was like, damn, you did us dirty. But talk about that game, because it was like, if people haven't seen it, it was a crazy game for you.
Well, you know, you go back to the brotherhood. First of all, you playing Brady Quinn versus A.J. Hawk. And, you know, A.J. Hawk go with Brady Quinn's sister. So that's a big thing about it. So we can't let A.J. Hawk get beat by the brother. You know what I'm saying? But it was a great team that year. You know, with 9 at the free safety, 83 at the receiver spot, Quinn, and Walker in the backfield. And, you know, me and Walker came out together. Walker beat me in the Watkins Award that we was together in. So, you know, they was just a great squad. There was a great squad. That year, we really thought we should have went to the national championship. So, with USC and Texas playing at that time, we wanted the best game ever. At first, they wouldn't even go out to play us at first. We was playing like another squad. I forgot what team that was, but the reason why we ended up playing was because our fans traveled the money.
Right.
Down there in Arizona. But y'all had a good team, man. I just wanted to see us versus like the Floridas, the Notre Dames.
Right.
We already got Texas. They didn't really whoop us like that. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to see USC. Like, we just wanted to see Oklahoma. Like, you know what I'm saying? The top teams at that time, and y'all was up.
Now, even comparing it to, you know, if you look at Ohio State now and just how much the offense has, you know, changed to when you were there, you know, I think, like, during your time, I don't even think there was, you know, a 1,000-yard receiver. And now it was 2 this year, I think. It was Marvin and Mbuku, I think is his name, Mbuku. And so just having, like, you seeing it now, you ever... Obviously, you know, it's a long as you can't go back in time, or you can't, you know, can't be born now.
I started the bubble. I'm glad that I started the bubble. Like the Ginn formation, the bubbles, the stuff like that. That you know, just we started that creation of Ohio State to get out of that I formation, 2 receivers, occasional 3rd receiver. Run team. Like, I was just a start of it, and I'm glad that, you know, they didn't transfer, you know, they didn't went the way they didn't went with it. You know, everything is made to be broken or to get better.
Right.
Like, you get what I'm saying? So to see how it's going, you know, just showing that we are revolving with the school, we are doing exactly what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays, going out here, going into the league, when I was playing, you could only have, the highest guy was getting 80 balls. 80 balls going to the tight end now. Like, you get what I'm saying? You got guys out here getting 100, 110, 120 balls. That was like far-fetched. To get 100 balls in my time, when I was first coming out, was like, wow. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, now you got to average 100 balls to get a certain amount of money. Like, it's crazy nowadays. So now you got to just start teaching that in college.
And even the game, because you look at it to where it's like you went first round, you know, number 9, and, you know, you were on multiple teams to where it's like, the game has evolved so much to where, you know, maybe back then the type of receiver was different.
Sure.
To whereas now, you know, people love the speed receiver. It's not, oh, he's a return guy, because that's what they labeled Tyreek Hill as, you know, multiple years ago. He's a return guy playing receiver. You know, but now he's probably top 3, top 5 receiver in the league. You got Jalen Waddle. You got a number of guys, you know, that are blazing down the field that are number 1 receivers. And so now, you know, looking at it like that, do you think, like, your career, you know, still a great career, obviously, you know, played in the Super Bowl, was it 14 years? Or
yeah, 14.
14 years career, crazy, and still bombing people your last year. So it's like you got the Deshaun Jacksons, and it was like I feel like you and Deshaun Jackson was like those two that was just like different from the rest of the group. And so now, like, I even think about, like, Deshaun Jackson. I think he mentioned this on I Am Athlete, to where it was like he was one of the ones that started that blazing receiver, like giving respect to that blazing receiver.
For sure. I mean, you had a guy that would, at one point in time, he averaged 20 to 24 yards a catch. Like, how are you not going to be the number 1 guy? Like, you get what I'm saying? But I think what happens is they went from, and it goes back and forth. You know what I'm saying? The league changed a lot. Like, but at one point in time, it was all 6'2", 6'4" receivers on both sides. Your X and your Z was huge. And there was more jump balls, except for like the Randys and the T.O.s. You know what I'm saying? And occasional, Brandon Marshalls. And like, but once people started involving with these feet work and different things like that, that was given the opportunity to showcase that slot receiver. The slot receiver made us be able to evolve outside.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that slot receiver said, okay, he's the 5'9", the 5'10" guy in the slot. You just get his occasional third down, you going back over here and sit down. You get what I'm saying? But I just think that with the feet work, with the different abilities, like I said, of a Steve Smith, Ocho, like, them guys are the guys that you could say, like, your X's. You know what I'm saying? Like, your number one X's. Like, when you start seeing that, then people start understanding, like, you got to have some speed out there. You get what I'm saying? And it's just, it's the team, too. I really believe in that. Certain teams got their scheme. Certain coaches got what they looking for. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? So, just see the difference in being in Carolina and being in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Having a guy like Drew Brees and having a guy like Cam Newton, two different total offenses. Like, and you can't compare them because they don't do the same thing. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
One guy throw blind. Drew Brees don't even see you. You just throw it out there. You just on time. As long as you get your feet weak, like I start understanding, his footwork is my footwork. He taking 5, I mean, I got to have 5 because he can't see.
Right.
So that ball coming, you don't even see it coming. You do it so fast.
You see it late.
You seeing it late. You just trust it, getting your head around, and you basically just throwing your hands up. You doing like this, and it's there. Where you got a guy like Cam, where I'm gonna get all the way to the sideline, and he gonna throw it late, cause he's 6'5". He see everything. Like, so he gonna take a look at this, but I got enough strength to throw that there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So they just two different players.
Yeah. And you were on, multiple teams, and, would you have liked to stay, like, would you have liked to have a long career, like, with the Dolphins?
Nope. I liked every bit of how I went because I had an impact with the Dolphins, changed. I took them to the playoffs 2008. That was the first time they'd been to the playoffs in, like, almost 15 years.
Right.
Now, you get what I'm saying? So I got a stamp for that. Bomb, I'm gone. 3 years. Go to San Francisco. Play on the Super Bowl there. Conference finals. We won that the whole time in San Francisco. Boom. Be there. Go to Carolina. Take them to the playoffs for the first time. In 2012, or no, 13. Carolina hadn't been to the playoffs in 10 years, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Go to Arizona, they cut me. Come back to Carolina. Now mind you, I'm still winning. I won the South I won my division from San Francisco all 3 years. Carolina that 1 year. I got cut, but Arizona, we won it. Come back to Carolina and win it for 2 more years. Go to New Orleans, win it though. We ran the South. And then come back and Chicago, I was out there like a light switch.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to talk about that Carolina team, playing with Cam Newton and going to the Super Bowl. That year was electric for many reasons. Obviously, you had the camp. That was when the dancing, like that shit was in style. But then also, like, I think y'all had like Future at y'all game. Like the Panthers was just lit.
Yeah.
For I don't know why, but it was just like everybody just gravitated towards that team. It was like the team. It was kind of similar like the Bengals now.
Yeah.
Like
well,
how everybody.
Start with your quarterback. I like Joe Burrow. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it started with your quarterback. I mean, at that time, Cam was who Cam was. You know, he was in his prime. He wanted to win. He wanted to be somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So his favorite rappers were Future and Drake. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you listen to them all day at practice. He had a connection with them. You know, people were shouting him out. So he did everything possible to bring the light to a dull situation. But I think the biggest thing about it was when we was in training camp, Kevin Benjamin went down after the year that he had, and like the whole team kind of like dropped. And I remember like looking around and looking at everybody like, don't nobody care about us? Like, okay, like at this point I'm 10 years in. Well, no, I'm what, 7, 8 years in. Like I didn't see guys get hurt first day of practice, first game. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know he's real big to us, but like they just was like we ain't had nobody else. And I remember going to camp like, you know, I'm sorry that he got hurt, but let's go to work. Now we could just get better at what I'm good at. Let's get better at what he good at. Get better at what he good at. You get what I'm saying? If we do that, we gonna be unstoppable. You got at this time, you got all fast guys. Me, Philly Brown, Funches, Cotry is like our oldest cat at the time. Everybody else blazing. Bird, DeVere Bird, we all blazing. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, just let's work at what we good at. And once we started doing that, it was unstoppable. Because now you got everybody licking their chops. I'm just being real. We ain't got no number one receiver. You got to use everybody. So that number one receiver spot is open. My number one receiver's turned into Greg Olsen, which was already the guy.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So now it's just like, let me go get what I know I'm good at. So me and Cam started working. And we worked so much and we bonded so much in that receiver room that made everybody else bond. Even though you already had the 3 backs between Tobe and Stewart. I think Will was already out of there. He might have been in Pittsburgh already. 34. But we just bonded, man. Everybody bonded. And everybody knew that they needed us. Like, now you got the second string tight end. Ed Dixon know he gonna get some passes now. Like, so now we need to be right. That's what it was all about. Just being right. Being on time when you supposed to be on time for Cam. You know what I'm saying? And that would make everybody jail. When you have no problems off the field, which is key. You know, you have no problems with no women in the locker room, which is key. So you keep them 2 things out of there, you good to go. And the city bought in behind us, the coaches, the owner, the GM, like everybody was on one accord. And when you got that, sky's the limit. Where everybody can act themselves at any given place. Cam could be Cam wherever he wanted to be. That's what made everybody grow. What make everybody feel like, okay, I can be me too. Yeah. I can be me too. So when nobody, oh man, that ain't you. Or why you acting like it wasn't none of that. It was
that's interesting you talk about Cam being Cam, because like I feel like now, or his last couple of years, it was like it was a bad thing who he was, like the dancing and, you know, outgoing.
Let's go with the talent. Just go with the talent, man. I'm straight up and down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You fall off, everything else is a distraction. And that's just what it was. That's why you couldn't be a backup at New England. Because the crowd is gonna take over from that young boy just making a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it mess up Cam money. Just being able to sit back, chill, and get a check. Like,
Yeah, I was wanting to ask you, like, are you surprised that he's not still playing in the league right now?
yeah. It was just because of who he is. His personality, who he is, he gonna have a good time wherever we go. He loved football. You could never take that from him.
Mm-hmm.
He loved football, but he loved him. He loved to be who he is. You get what I'm saying? So with him being who he is, and then my play don't say the play that, you know, the analytics say or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So all that become a distraction to the point where he like, what? I don't want to. Or a team like, I don't want to deal with none of it. Because, all right, dude, go throw 2 interceptions or whatever. Right? Now you got to hear for the rest of the time, we won't care. We won't care.
Sure.
Now that dude at home, like, man, you think they going to put me on the bench? You think they going to? Like, he can never get better.
Right. And this is a big topic now. I mean, you look at the kind of similar stature, similar, you know, play style, Josh Allen and Cam Newton. You know, you still, you know, stay updated with the game, watch the game. Do you see any similarities there between those two?
Oh, they big arms, size. They can run. I mean, but it's just, it's a lot on a quarterback's back, man. I love Josh Allen. I think he throws a hell of a ball. But they just need more. And that's just what it is. They need more. We need somebody to come out there. I don't think they played pretty good in that snow. You know?
Right.
And they just need a couple more pieces. They get a couple more pieces, they be straight.
Yeah. Let me get, before we hop off, let me get your Super Bowl prediction. You know, you've been to the, you know, the championship games, like you talk about the conference championship games. You played in the Super Bowl. Let me get your opinion on who you think might take it this year.
Well, I like the Bengals. I think they was pretty close last year. With them, you know, facing the toughest team right now. I think the Bengals, but so hard because you can't stop 87.
Right.
Like, he's just unstoppable. Kelsey. So that's a dog fight, but I'm going to take the Bengals. And then on the other side, San Francisco, I'm going with them. So I think it's going to be San Francisco Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Got you. Before we finally wrap up, though, I do want to touch on, you know, what you're doing, you know, with the kids. You talked. I know we briefly touched on, you know, you were in Kentucky with them for the national championship. Let's talk about that a little bit more before we wrap up, just because I want to, you know, update the listeners, the audience, on what you're currently doing and, you know, just your mission going forward.
So, Ginn Elite Sports, where we deal with kids between the age of 7 years old and 18. We have football, basketball, and track, cheerleading. We help them with mental health issues, trying to help them figure out their secondary life skills. And we take them around the world. You know, we try to showcase their talent. You know, this is what my 6th year with football, 3rd year with cheerleading, 14th to might be 15th year with basketball. Track is going on 3. But it's another outlet. It's another hub that I try to create for my old man, to where we dump it back into the community. You know, try to take my kids that's in the community, try to bring them out so they can see the world. And I just know from experience, it comes with the body. It comes with a sport that makes you go different places. Not saying that's your life skill. You get what I'm saying? It was mine, but it's not everybody else's. I just think it's a stepping stone to get a kid to understand who he is personally, physically, and mentally. And it's a way out. and it's a way for me to give back. I done had guys like my godson right now is a sophomore, play basketball. He's like our first real, true, like, while we did it. And we done seen from the Bryces to the CJs down to the Jalen's. Now about to be the little Herbies, you know. About to see them all grow, you know, and be able to get the same type of platform that I had. That's my goal with my teams.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in to, you know, another episode of Varsity House Podcast. If you like the content, continue to watch, continue to subscribe, comment, like below. We'll continue to deliver more, you know, content for you, and we appreciate you tuning in. Ted, I appreciate you. You know, like I said when we first started, this was, you know, just someone that I looked up to when I was coming through Cleveland, when I was playing football. You know, it wasn't the person who was in the NFL, it wasn't a person in college. It was like, I feel like high school is always that guaranteed, you know, level that you'll get to. And so to me, it was like I always wanted to be like Ted Ginn. I wanted to be like LaTwan Anderson. I wanted to be like Shane Wynn. Like, those were the guys that I've always, you know, looked up to. And, you know, I now get to have conversations with, get to meet with, get to, you know, grow with. And so, like I said, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on here. I'm, you know, definitely excited for, you know, not only for our regular audience to listen, but also just, you know, the community to listen and to, you know, figure out ways to help, because not only does this touch the city of Cleveland, but it touches, you know, numerous communities outside of, you know, Cleveland, outside of Ohio. And so, again, appreciate your time. Appreciate, you know, all that you're doing now for the kids. What you've, you know, the career you had is legendary, and you'll definitely be known for more. And so, before we bounce, also give a shout out to where we had this, you know, where we shot this podcast at.
Well, you know, right now we had our a new beginning for me. Should be opening in a couple weeks. Meraki Cafe. And yeah, come check us out.
All right, appreciate you.
I don't.